The silence of the Eastern Front is a lie. It is not peaceful. It is merely holding its breath before the next scream of artillery tears the sky apart. As we move deep into late 2025, the war in Ukraine has shifted into a terrifying new phase. Gone are the days of sweeping maneuvers and lightning-fast counteroffensives that capture the world headlines. Instead, the conflict has ascended into something far more brutal and suffocating, a slow, grinding death by 1,000 cuts. The headlines you see today, "The Ukrainians are struggling," are not just clickbait. They are a desperate signal flare rising from the trenches of the Donbas. To understand the struggle, you have to look at the map, specifically at a city named Pokrovsk. For months, this city was a logistical heartbeat for Ukrainian defense, a place where soldiers rotated out for a hot meal and where supplies flowed to the front. Today, it is a ruin. The Russians are not taking it with a single massive wave. They are taking it inch by inch. They are using what soldiers call infiltration tactics. Instead of sending columns of tanks that can be blown up by drones, they send men. Small groups of 2 or 3 Russian soldiers, moving like ghosts through the fog and the autumn rain. Creeping into a basement here, a trench line there. It is a nightmare for the Ukrainian defenders. How do you fight an enemy that absorbs catastrophic losses and just keeps coming? The ground is being traded for blood, and right now, the exchange rate is becoming impossible to sustain. The struggle isn't just about losing territory. It is about the exhaustion of force that has been fighting nonstop for nearly 4 years. The second aspect of this struggle is cold, hard mathematics. In many sectors of the front, reports suggest the Ukrainians are outnumbered 8-1. Imagine standing in a muddy trench, freezing cold, knowing that for every one of you, there are 8 of them waiting in the tree line opposite. This numerical disadvantage changes everything. It means Ukrainian commanders have to make heartbreaking choices every single hour. Do they hold a position and risk losing their best experienced soldiers? Or do they retreat and give up another village, another town, another piece of their homeland? The shortage isn't just men. It's the tools of war. While Western aid continues to arrive, the sheer volume of fire coming from the Russian side is overwhelming. The skies above the battlefield are swarming with drones. In the past, drones were the equalizer for Ukraine, a way for the smaller force to strike the larger one. But now, Russia has adapted. They have their own swarms, and they are hunting. Using vehicles to evacuate the wounded has become a suicide mission. Drivers are forced to race through death zones at night, lights off, praying that a thermal camera doesn't spot them. When the logistics break down, the struggle becomes primal. Soldiers are rationing ammunition. They are rationing sleep. They are fighting with the knowledge that if they are pinned down, help might not come. This is a struggle the news talks about. It is the physical and mental breaking point of human endurance. But the war isn't just in the trenches. To truly feel the weight of this struggle, you have to look at the civilians left behind. In cities like Pokrovsk and surrounding fortress belt of the Donbas, life has been reduced to a prehistoric survival. There is no power. There is no water. There is no heating, and the winter of 2025 is biting hard. The people remaining are often the elderly or those too poor to flee. They live in basements, emerging only to cook food on open fires, their eyes constantly scanning the sky. They have learned to distinguish the sound of a Ukrainian outbound shell from a Russian inbound one. The psychological toll is immense. For 3 years, they held on to hope. They believed in the counteroffensives. They believed the world would stop the destruction. Now, as the front line inches closer to their doorsteps, that hope is fraying. The struggle, here is the struggle against despair. It is the realization that their homes, their schools, and their memories are being erased from the map. Yet, even here, there is a strange, stubborn refusal to break. You see grandmothers sharing their last jar of pickles with soldiers. You see volunteers driving beat-up vans into active combat zones to deliver bread. The struggle is desperate, yes, but it hasn't killed their humanity. While the soldiers fight in the mud, another battle is being fought in the capitals of the world. And this might be where the struggle is most dangerous. Ukraine is fighting a war on 2 fronts: the physical front against Russia and the diplomatic front against war fatigue. In late 2025, the global conversation has shifted. You hear louder whispers about land for peace. You hear politicians in the West asking how long this can go on. For the Ukrainians, this is terrifying. They know what happens in the occupied territories. They know that a bad peace, a peace that freezes a conflict where it is, isn't really peace at all. It just gives the aggressor time to rearm and try again in 5 years. The struggle here is to keep the world's attention. It is a fight against apathy. Every time a Western ally delays a shipment of shells or debates the cost of aid, the soldiers on the front line pay the price in blood. The Ukrainians are struggling because they feel the window of opportunity closing. They are racing against time, trying to stabilize the front before the international political winds shift completely against them. They are screaming into the void, warning the world that if they fall, the chaos won't stop at their borders. So is this the end? If you look only at the maps and the math, it looks bleak. The lines are bending. The cities are crumbling. The soldiers are tired. But if you end the story there, you miss the most important part. Despite the struggling, despite the retreat from Pokrovsk, and despite the overwhelming odds, the Ukrainian line has not collapsed. They are bending, yes, but they have not broken. They are adapting again. They are striking deep into Russia with long-range drones, hitting oil refineries and airfields, bringing the war home to the aggressor. They are innovating in real time, building underground factories to produce their own weapons when the outside world is too slow. The struggle is not a sign of defeat. It is the price of survival. History is full of nations that vanished when faced with such overwhelming force. Ukraine is still here. The reality of late 2025 is dark. The days are short, the nights are cold, and the enemy is relentless. But in the darkness, the resolve of the Ukrainian people burns brighter than ever. They are not fighting for territory anymore. They are fighting for their right to exist. And as long as there is one soldier left to hold a rifle and one grandmother left to bake bread in a ruin, the story is not over. The struggle continues, because the alternative is silence.